Good afternoon and welcome to BalaCore Fitness Show here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Ellen Como and I have a special guest with me today. You know, I always talk about the journey of fitness, and I talked about that last week, or 2 weeks ago when I was on the air. We're talking about the journey of fitness and just where the journey takes us sometimes, and how we walk into a situation thinking one thing and we go in a completely different way. So my guest today is Oriana John. I want to welcome you to the show, Oriana.
Hi, Ellen.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Now, I brought Oriana in because she has such a great journey to fitness. Because there was one time she was really fit, and then she kind of went off wherever she went, right? Food? You went to food? Mm-hmm. And then she came back around. But I just really want you to share your journey. Because if you see Oriana, and you can see her on this YouTube, she looks amazing. She looks so good. Now, I don't have a before picture of her to show, but she looked completely different before she started working out, this time with me. Mm-hmm. And I just want you, Oriana, for people that are at home and listening to the show, I really want you to share your journey with them. Because I know there's so many things that I talk about on the journey to fitness, but because I've been doing it for so many years, there's things that I don't remember experiencing that you're going to really be able to come to life for us today. What that feeling was. What was that aha moment for you? When did that come? So first of all, let's talk about a little bit. You were fit before, and then what happened? What made you kind of fall off the fitness wagon?
I don't know. I think going out to dinner a lot, and hanging out with friends a lot, and just not working out at all. I just completely quit. I knew I needed to, but I just couldn't get that motivation to get started.
Okay, so you're kind of just going along. Now, what made you want to make the change?
I knew I needed to make the change because I didn't like the way I feel, and I know it's not good on my joints. And I think my sister, I hadn't seen her in a couple of years, one of my older sisters, Helen May, she was visiting, and I realized she had been on a fitness journey herself, and she had lost a lot of weight and was looking really good. So I thought, okay, let me take her to BalaCore because I knew you guys had the complimentary week. And I just did it as a joke. So I took her the first day, and that was going to be it, but not my sister. She decided that we were going to go every day at 5 o'clock in the morning. So every morning she would say, Oriana, it's time to go. And I would kind of crawl back in bed. So afterwards she'd just sit there and stare at me. So I had no choice but to get up. And we did that for 2 weeks. And then I was in Cancun with my girlfriend, and I kept wondering why my bathing suit just kept going up, my derriere. And I realized, oh my gosh, I've lost inches. I didn't expect that, because when we worked out, we went home and slept. We didn't go home and do anything but sleep, and we'd sleep, and then we wake up, take a shower, and eat. So I just thought I was going to do it to please my sister. But then once I realized, my goodness, this is working, I was in. I was hooked.
I love it.
It's been a 2-year journey now. I guess it'll be 2 years.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you're working at 5 a.m. every morning. Now, what is that? What motivates somebody? I know you had a motivator.
Yes.
So that helped quite a bit. But for a lot of people, 5 o'clock or 5:30 is the only time that they can work out every day because of work and responsibilities. And I want you just to kind of share a little bit about how you get, now that your sister is gone, how do you stick to that morning? What happens? What is that switch that you kind of say, oh yeah, I can do this. I can get up every morning for this?
Looking good. Yes, definitely. Realizing that I was losing inches, that I was just hooked. It didn't bother me. I was up. I couldn't wait for that 5 a.m. class. 5 a.m. class, I was there. And I kept seeing results, and the more results I see, the more committed I was. And I think one of the things that also with Ellen, when I started going to her classes at 8:30, because I started at the 5 a.m., then I started going to the 8:30, and what I loved about her class and what encouraged me to go more is she explained every little move. At first it was kind of annoying. I would say to myself, just be quiet, quit talking and talking on and on. But then I realized, oh my goodness, if you listen, you will learn. And by listening to her and following her instructions, you will work every muscle you need to work when you do that move. And that's what I continue to practice, and I'm just so happy that I met her.
I know. It's been, I know when I have to say, I remember we were at an event together.
Yeah, we were competing against each other.
Well, we were competing against each other. That's how we met. But then later on when you started coming to my gym, and we went to an event together, and you said, you talk too much. You need to stop talking so much. And I said, well, instead of thinking that I talk too much, listen to what I'm saying, because it'll really help you. And that's when she really started to listen and hear what I was trying to say.
And you really should come out and take her class. It's a complimentary week.
Yeah.
And just follow her instructions. And if you have an injury, she have an alternative move for you. I mean, I hurt my knee, and I still went and work out because she knew I couldn't do certain things. So she made sure to say, Oriana, or those who can't, do this. So,
yes.
I mean, I'm just so happy that it will be 2 years that I've kept this body and will continue to keep it. I don't want to ever go back at all.
Yeah, and also what you said, which is really important. You've had this body for 2 years, because you hear a lot of fitness challenges, like you can lose weight, we're going to get you to lose weight in 90 days, which, yes, that's great, but you got to keep, now I want to know if you're going to keep it off for the 90 days after that. That's what matters. That's where the importance lies. And with Oriana, as you know, Oriana, I don't rush the losing process. I kind of take my time with everybody and everyone is going to go at a different pace. Some people are going to lose weight really quickly. Other people, it takes a little bit longer. But what I want is that weight to come off and stay off, and your lifestyle completely change, and then fitness become part of your life. So that is like the one that's also a real key, I think, to keeping the weight off for 2 years. So what are some of the other things you've learned along the way in your journey to fitness? About yourself, about your body, about what does it take to keep the weight off? Are you changing your nutrition crazy? I know, you're one of the lucky ones. She is one of the lucky ones. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's really interesting. We're going to go a little bit ahead against the grain per se, but I'd really like you to talk about that, because this can happen.
Well, I've never been a person who dieted. I think I dieted once in my life, and I said I would never do it again because I had to give up things that I liked. And I loved white bread. I do eat healthy bread, but I like my white bread, my white rice. I love basmati rice. So what I did when I started working out and I realized I was seeing results, I knew there was no way I was going to continue eating the way I did. I didn't give up the food I like. I just ate the right amount. But I also made sure that there was less rice on my plate, not a lot of rice. So I still got to eat it. And I just think that when you look at yourself and you realize how hard it was to get there, because it's not easy, you have to work hard and the muscles hurt. I don't want to have to go through that process again of trying to build my muscle up, to go through all that pain. And so I just try and focus on what I eat and just not give up. And I don't eat junk. I'm not a snacker, so I don't eat candy, and I don't like chocolate. So it's not hard for me. The things I eat are bad, yeah, but not as bad as sugar. I'm not a sugar person. I don't like sweet. I prefer tart grapes. That's weird.
I love this.
And when you put clothes on and you see the difference in clothes, and my feet shrunk.
Yes.
I was telling Ellen that I went, and I won't say what size my feet are, and I was like, wow, okay. I put on some 12s and they were too big. I wear 11s now. And that was amazing. I didn't know you could actually lose weight out of your feet.
Absolutely. Do you know when I'm a little bit heavier, when I would lose weight, I would lose about a half to a shoe size. Absolutely. Your feet do gain weight and lose weight. And I know it's kind of, nobody really knows that, and they don't really talk about that. But, fat is dispersed all over our body. That doesn't just come. Now, we have places in our body where we tend to store more fat than others. Some of us store it in our glutes and in our thighs. Some of us store it. I store it, believe it or not, in my arms. My arms and my upper body is where I store the fat. And that is where I've always stored the fat. That's been one of my problem areas, and my thighs.
May I ask when you were fat?
Yes.
When were you fat?
Oh, I can show you the picture.
Gosh.
I was chubby. I'm going to show her on the break, and so she's going to come back and say, "Oh my gosh, I saw that." Yes, she was chubby at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, I was chubby, definitely. So I was chubby in high school. I would never say that I was fat, but I was definitely a chubette. And it was, I was when I was in elementary school and junior high, I never had to think about my weight. And then when I got to high school, and they had the snack bar, and they had all that candy available to me that I've never had because my family didn't stock that and keep that in our home. I could go to that snack bar, and it used to be called the Student Store. And they had every candy that you could imagine. And so I did my freshman 10 in high school, not in college.
Wow.
Yeah, so I ate and ate and ate and ate, and I turned into kind of a little chubette. And it's funny, when you are gaining weight, you don't realize how much weight you're gaining. You don't realize you're chubby. You really don't get it. You think you're fine. And then all of a sudden you start to see pictures, and you start today it's probably a lot easier, and you're going to see it a lot quicker, because back then we didn't have the phones, and every moment of our life wasn't on Facebook. So pictures were, more few and far between on a birthday or a celebration or a graduation or a holiday. So it really wasn't, and then the pictures would have to get developed, right? So we might not see them.
Sometimes by the time you develop them, it's like a year later.
Exactly. You lose them. I know. My mom was great for having a whole gigantic Ziploc bag filled with film that needed to be developed. So I didn't realize how chubby I was. And somehow in there, I really didn't go up too much in clothing size, although my body changed quite a bit. So then now I'm about 15, 16 years old, and I walk into a gym for the first time. Fell in love with it. Just fell in love with the energy in the room, and I loved that I could work out. Now, I really was trying hard to lose weight, but my mom, and it's usually your mom at that point that you would go to, we didn't have, again, all of the information about nutrition, losing weight, workouts. That wasn't available back then. We didn't have it. It was just kind of, you went along and just hoped what you were doing was right. And my mom, she would go on one different crazy diet after another.
Wow.
I remember one she went on for 10 solid days. All she did was ate grapefruit and eggs. Yeah. So you ate half a grapefruit and 2 eggs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. That's all you ate for 10 days.
See, I was the reverse, though, growing up. I was pretty much skinny, and I hated it because they called me a lot of names. And I always wanted to look like Marilyn Monroe. I wanted a hips and a sexy look like her. I didn't start gaining weight until I was in my late 30s, and I started when my mom passed away. I just got depressed. That was the first time I gained weight. But I lost it by the end of the year.
Oh, okay. So you lost it right away.
Yes.
And then the food you probably grew up with was probably a lot different than the food I grew up with.
Canned food was a treat. Everything was pretty much fresh. Fresh meat, fresh fish. I mean, the fish was the freshest ever. I mean, the fish is alive like you're trying to cook him. So,
now, what island? Where are you from?
I'm from Antigua.
Antigua. So beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the water in Antigua.
Oh my God, I missed it. I haven't been home in a few years. I missed the beach. I missed the food.
And the food, so the food you had was a lot fresher.
Yes, fresh
all
food,
the time.
Fresh vegetables, fresh produce, everything was fresh. And we really had canned stuff. One thing that we did eat was a lot of rice. We did eat rice and macaroni. I didn't even know they had a variety of pasta. I just knew macaroni when I was growing. No, I knew 2 macaroni and the elbow.
Okay.
Those were the 2 that I grew up with.
Which are both macaroni.
Well, we call it macaroni. We call it macaroni, but we just meant the long, skinny one with a hole. I don't know what they call it now.
So not spaghetti, it's called...
We had spaghetti too, and then we had elbow.
Okay.
But the one with the hole in it, you don't see it a lot here. I don't see people cooking it a lot. I don't know what they call it.
I know, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did that on the white rice. We did do. But what was my favorite vegetable? Spinach. I've always loved spinach. Oh.
Yeah, spinach is amazing. I love spinach as well. That's one. But what I didn't like spinach. I didn't get a lot of vegetables growing up, and I was the opposite of you, where it was mostly canned. Everything came out of a can, cream corn, that kind of thing. My mom, she would cook, obviously she would cook a few nights a week, other few nights a week, they'd bring food in, but it was canned food. And my mom loved her sugar. I remember walking in the door in high school one day, and my mom was gleefully just jumping around, all excited, because she came up with this concoction of butterscotch pudding with Cool Whip and chocolate chips. And that's what she was eating that day. So my mom had a really, really big sweet tooth. Well, because she was kind of, and we have to be careful as parents, we are kind of our nutrition guides for our children.
Definitely.
You know, and what we're eating. So I would do what she would do, where she would eat all of these crazy sugar concoctions, and then she would do the grapefruit and eggs for 10 days and lose all the weight. So thank God my mom had that metabolism where she could lose weight at a drop of a dime. She could do it so quickly, where with me it took a little bit longer, a lot more work, and I had to develop my muscles more, and then I really had to worry about and figure out, you know, how to eat better. And I kind of made it my mission when I was about 15 or 16 to figure it out with not much guidance. I kind of had to fill around and figure it out for myself. And then I walked into another gym where there was aerobics going on at that time. It was high impact aerobics.
Yes.
Remember that, where everybody jumped up and down.
I did not like it.
Yeah, jump. And then I saw the guys lifting weights over in another room. And I'm like, gosh, that looks cool. I want to learn how to do that. That looks really, I like it. So I walked over to the guys and started talking to them and said, you know, started asking questions. They actually were very nice to me and kind to me. At first they were looking at me like, why is this girl over here? Like, is she over here because she likes us? You know, why is she here? So, and then they started to realize that I really had such a great interest in what they were doing, and they kind of took me under their wing at that moment. And I've got to say, a lot of understanding how the body moves and the body mechanics came from them, because that's a difference between bodybuilders, lifters, and classrooms today. Is when you really, they're in classrooms, they don't really teach you why you're doing what you're doing and how you're supposed to do it
That's
anymore.
one of the things with you that I admire and respect about you. You tell us the why, what, and everything. And I think knowing that make me work better because I have a better understanding of my body.
Right.
So,
yeah, and the guys are the ones that really taught me that. Because in order for them to get the muscles to grow the way they wanted, they needed to know where they were.
Okay.
They needed to know how they were attached and inserted. They needed to know a sequencing, because if they didn't have the proper sequencing, they wouldn't see results.
Okay.
And I just happened to fall in with about 4 or 5 guys and a couple girls that were competing at that time. And they were competing more in the fitness than the actual bodybuilding itself. And they kept telling me, you need to compete. You need to compete. I was maybe about 18 years old. I was super shy. I definitely did not have the confidence to do that yet. You know, I was still trying to figure it all out for myself. And then that is how my love of fitness grew. And that is actually what developed my style. The way I do it, the way I teach others, is because without having these guys kind of as my pathfinders, my instructors, my teachers, I would have never had that background. So when I went to get one of my first certifications, I knew almost everything that was already in that book.
Oh, that's
because
good.
I had been taught. Now, a few things were a little bit different. A few things were a little changed, but it really allowed me. I really sailed right through that certification. It was so easy for me. So, you know, why I'm saying that is truly where my style came from. Is me teaching my class, because I remember walking into a gym in that very first day and not knowing anything. And then I think of somebody walking into my class for the very first time, they have no idea what I'm talking about or asking them to do.
Yes.
So I have to tell them. And knowing the importance and knowing the gift of having that information, because I remember when I got it. So I'm going way back till I was about 18 years old, is where that style that I actually teach with today was developed.
Good.
Yeah, that long ago.
Great style. Great, definitely.
Yeah. But
I think you're my motivator why I still work out too. You know, so I really and truly appreciate you and the efforts that you make with me and everyone else.
Yeah, it's fun. And I think my inspiration comes from you, from all of you.
Good.
And we recently moved where Oriana's sitting. Well, Oriana, I should say, moved her space. She's right up by the mirror. And I loved it one day. She's like, hey, I have muscle. I have this muscle, that muscle. She was like, and when I hear that, I feel so joyful. That to me makes my day when I know somebody else went out there and their bodies are changing and they're getting it and they're loving it and they're thriving in it. That is what makes me get up and be able and do this every day.
I think because the room is smaller, this room we're in now, and it has mirrors on 3 sides. It's only one side with no mirrors. So it's hard to avoid looking at yourself because I don't like looking at myself when I'm working out. And the first day I was like, oh, I have muscles there? And I'm like, wow. And it kind of motivates you more because you're like, wow, I have muscles there. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Having muscle is so much better than just watching what you eat and not working out. You don't look the same. I look so much different because of what I eat and working out.
That's called a skinnier version of your fat self. That is what that is called. When you just change your nutrition and you don't work out, or you change your nutrition and you only do cardio.
Yeah.
You're going to just be a skinnier version of your fat self. In order for your body to really change, you have to be lifting weights. That is the way to change your body composition. And that is the way to make a balanced body. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to be right back. This is Ellen Coma with my guest, Oriana John, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.